So you're coaching youth football this year and you want to run a modern style of offense. Well, I've got you covered.
We're not going to get a second chance in the game.
Welcome back to the channel. We're going to talk some coaching football today, and specifically we're going to be covering really what you would call generically the spread offense. Now that term, 20 years later here now we sit, it could mean so much. Really, when people say spread offense, they mean something modern. What types of offense are we seeing on TV? Generally speaking, we're thinking we're in the gun. We're playing with a lot of wide receivers and likely one, maybe two running backs. Well, if you're going to coach youth football this year and this is the style of offense you want to run, I can help you run it well. Now, before you set your feet in the sand that this is what we're going to do, make sure you have a couple things first. These are the things that I would consider minimum requirements for running what you would call a spread offense. I'm going to turn the volume of my mic up a little bit. Looks like I've got some room to spare there. Check, check, check. These are what I would consider minimum requirements for running a spread offense. Number one, a quarterback that can throw 22 yards on a rope. On a rope, meaning you throw that ball and it drives, right? It's not one of these arcing type throws. Okay, now it says in parentheses there a one ball. What's a one ball? This will be a very fast lesson. They say one ball, right? You're throwing it on a rope. Me and you, we stand there 10 yards apart. If we pulled a rope, that's a straight line. That's a one ball. I throw it on a rope. A two ball has a nice little arc to it. A three ball would be your classic bomb, right? Remember playground football, throw me a bomb. Ooh, this high arcing throw, that's your three ball. So a one ball, a two ball, a three ball. You need a kid that can throw probably around 22 yards on a rope. Now, how did I get that number? Well, you look at this. You're just using triangles. You figure your wide receiver is going to be up to 20 yards away from your quarterback width-wise, and he's going to run a 5-yard hitch. Your quarterback's 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, so that's 10 yards away vertically. And when you do the math on that, that's around 22 yards. So he needs to be able to throw the ball 22 yards on a rope. Now, depending on the age of your kid, it's not that easy to do, right? I know, and when you watch TV, those guys make a 22-yard throw look like child's play, like I'm tossing the ball into the trash can from 2 feet away. They make it look that easy. It's not that easy, so you need to check with your kid, have him throw, spread out 22 yards away. Can he throw that ball on a rope? Check. You need to make sure that your guy has that level of arm strength. And then the second thing is, can he throw it 37 yards? Can he throw a three ball like that, more of that high arcing ball? Can he throw at least 37? Again, that's pretty darn far. How did I get that? Well, that's really that number to throw that high arcing fade. To throw a fade is about a 25-yard route, 20 to 25, but your guy's 20 yards away, 25 yards this way. I'm 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage as the quarterback. You do that triangulation somewhere around 37 yards. So the first thing you need to do is check to see that you have a quarterback with that kind of arm strength. And you may say, well, I don't have to have that arm strength to run this. I guess you don't have to, but I would say if you're telling me you cannot throw any level of quick game to the perimeter and you cannot throw a fade, then I would say why line up a receiver? Why are we splitting anyone? You'd be better off keeping everyone tight. When you do want to go vertical, you'll have someone free at about 10 to 12 yards vertically, and you can throw that little 20-yard ball there, right? So if you want to do this and you want to spread people out, you need to have a kid that has the arm strength to spread people out. The next thing you're going to need is you need a wide receiver that can catch and get yards after the catch. So be careful about this, right? A lot of people can catch, right? Like if we're standing here in my front yard playing catch, there's a lot of people who can catch it, but can you catch it and do anything with it? Is this a good athlete that could catch it in traffic with someone near him? I'm not even saying like he has to Randy Moss somebody and go over. He doesn't need that ability, but can he catch it in traffic? And now is he athletic enough that he could make some moves here? Because you really, again, if you don't have anyone that can do that, and there are years where you don't, then you go, well, we might be better off just bringing him in, having more running backs, more fakes. These are just, again, things to consider. Do I have 3 quality athletes on the offensive line? And you're going to need this so that you can actually run some level of pass protection. They don't have to be massive human movers. They don't have to be huge human masses. I don't know what I'm even trying to say right now. They don't have to be huge. They just have to be fairly solid athletes, right? But otherwise, you're just really going to struggle to protect the passer. You need a couple seconds. And then do you have, and this might be the hardest thing of all, do you have 2 quality coaches? Because now you need a quality coach that's going to work on your passing game, because it takes time and repetition, and you've got to match this timing up, right? There's a lot of coordinating, a lot of parts to coordinate here. And then you have to have a really good guy teaching those offensive linemen understanding pass protection, because there's a lot of things a defense can do. And so we have to have our answers so that we don't make that one mistake. It only takes one mistake up front, and you've got a free rusher, and you can't throw any. It doesn't matter how good your quarterback is and wide receiver on their timing, or how good your route concepts are. They're irrelevant. So you have to make sure, do I have these things? If I do have these things, okay, let's continue on. You have enough to consider running a modern style offense. Now, why would you run the spread? I'm going to go fast because you probably already know. And kids do love running an offense they see on TV. Parents love seeing an offense that they see on TV. It does allow for a huge amount of creativity. Huge amount of creativity. So it can be fun as an offensive coordinator. When you spread defenses out, it becomes surprisingly easy to run the ball. And then it is incredibly difficult to defend if you run it well, like everything else. Now, what are some dangers? Beware of this. If you're choosing and deciding to run this, please be aware of these few things. It is easy to fall into the trap thinking when things get hard, there's a new creative answer out there, new creative play I could find, new way of lining things up, a new motion that might open it up. It's a danger of the spread, because the reality is the fixing of the troubles, and they come for every offense. It doesn't have to be found in creativity. A lot of it's likely found in execution of the details of the simple things. It is easy to abandon the run when things get tough. You go one drive, you couldn't run the ball very well on drive number 1. You quickly abandon it, and it's easy to fall into the trap of abandoning it for the duration of a game. You can spend a lot of time on defense like this, right? If you come in, throw 2 quick passes, next thing you know, it's 3rd and 10. It doesn't go very well. You end up turning the ball over, and you've taken 1 minute off the clock. And in a game where you're outmanned, if you happen to run into those, the score can get out of hand quickly. So it is a downside. It's a danger of it. It's good to be aware. It's not perfect. What formations? Well, listen, in the quote-unquote spread offense, formations are limitless. And I believe you could spend a lot of time having fun being creative there. But I'm just going to warn you, let's put the creativity part on pause. This video is not about being creative. It is about being good at offense. And the creativity, I think, can come after you've gotten good at offense. You should start here. You should start here because at youth football level, if you're not going to run what you would call 21 personnel or 20 personnel in this case, 2 running backs. If you're not going to run with 2 running backs, you likely have to do a lot of reading in your run game with your quarterback. And that is possible. It's possible. I don't want to say it's not, but it's difficult. And you're going to have your hands full anyway as a coach of a youth football coach in teaching a lot of important things. I just think that teaching reads, it can wait. It can wait. So I would use 2 backs. So I need a blocking back. There's your H. And I need a tailback. Right here in the pistol is easiest because it just mirrors the I formation so much. The counterplay is really effective out of this. This is where you should start. 2 receivers on one side, 1 on the other. And now you could switch easily. If you look at those formations, I could switch the Z to the left and the right easily with any naming system. And I could switch my H to the right or to the left easily with any naming system. But just start here. You could get a lot of little combos moving that Z and H around just starting here. If I was going to add one more formation at the youth level, I wouldn't even add trips. I wouldn't add bunch. I wouldn't even put an extra back in my backfield. I would just do this. I would move that guy who used to be right here. Here's my arrow. He used to be off the line. I would tell this man to stand on the line and this man to step off of the line. And now I can bring this man in motion. So number one, I can bring him in motion. I could run jet to him, but I could also just bring him in motion to the other side. And I now have more numbers to the other side. It's an unbalanced formation. Notice that the Y, he is not eligible to go out for a pass. Can't go downfield on a pass play. But I have a really quick way to bring another person to the already two receiver side and begin to outnumber you. Okay, and it is a very sneaky way. Defenses, it's hard to pick up on. One man stepped on the line, one man stepped off. Here he comes in motion, and we've got you outnumbered quickly. So that's where I'd get to. I'm not going to cover this one in this video, but if it was me, this is the first formation outside of what you saw that I would add. Maybe we'll come back to this one in video number 2. Let's start talking details. If you're going to run the spread offense this year with your youth football team, you should run these 3 series. You need power. That gives you the ability to attack off tackle. You need counter. That gives you the ability to fake right and go left, or vice versa. Incredible. It's an incredible football play at all levels, let alone youth football. Kids, they get faked out, they get lulled to sleep quickly, and they will bite on fakes. And then last but not least, we need the ability to attack the edge. And you can do so with a simple toss play. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You just turn and you flip it to your fast kid. We just need to know, how do we block this well? Splits. Up front, I think you should go 1-foot splits. There's a lot going on. Your offensive linemen are young. Let them stay pretty close together. And that way, especially when it comes to pass protection, it is more forgiving for your kids. When they get to play closer together and there are less huge lanes to run through, I have to cover less ground to stay in the way, and I can give my quarterback just enough time to throw. Can't move on without talking about the center snap. I put 2 pictures here. The one on the right there, if you look at that picture on the right, it looks like that's NC State quarterback, center. He's kind of holding it like as if I'm throwing a spiral. I think it's a better idea for a youngster to hold it more like, if he's got the hand size, depending on the size of your football in your league, to hold it more like that guy on the Chiefs. I usually teach the kid, I want the pointer finger or middle finger, or maybe it's in between, to go right down those seams, point the ball down, and I'm going to flip this. And what we work on is don't break the wrist. I don't want this. I don't want the snapping motion. Because if you do it here in your own living room where you are right now, if you get into that center position and you snap that wrist, it's the snapping of the wrist that causes that, because now his eyes are up, he's worrying about blitzers, he snaps the wrist and the ball goes whoop, right over your quarterback's head. So work with this kid like crazy. You've got to do this religiously. Before practice, after practice, hey, give me 10 more snaps, 20 more snaps. Work on not breaking the wrist. It's a dead ball snap. You snap it so the ball is not spinning, right? Like a knuckleball in baseball. And you need him to aim between the knees and the belt. He can't be thinking about trying to hit that quarterback's hands. I would prefer him hit my quarterback's knees, because we can live with too low. Too high really hurts us badly. It'll kill your drive. And if you get 2 bad snaps over the quarterback's head a game, it's hard to even win like that. So you've got to work like crazy. Do not overlook this. Do not expect it to be easy for a kid. It's hard. And when the mistakes come, hold them accountable, but don't freak out on the kid, because it's not going to help him snap the ball better. It will not help him. Your cadence, Listen, you can do anything. If you watch football on TV, you're going to hear a lot of wide 80, wide 80 set hot. That works. Or you could just go down, set, go. Whatever your cadence, I would make it consistent and ask your quarterback to be loud. So let's talk power and counter. In this video, we're going to talk power, counter, toss, and quick game. And those 4 things give you an offense that you could run and be very effective this year. Maybe next week we'll get into a part 2 video. We'll talk some play action, even hints to things that would be considered RPOs. Tough, they're tough, but there are hints, RPO concepts that could work at the youth level. So a little play action, and then we would get into some jet sweep next week as well. But for right now, this is where you make your money. Power and counter. And the good news is that the front side of power and counter, they're the same. You can block them the same. And everyone who's coached football for a while knows any opportunity you get with that same as concept, it's the same as. This part of the play is same as when we do this other play. Anytime you get same as, that's an advantage for your offense because you're reducing the amount you're trying to teach. And you can get a lot of reps. So now you can rep the play side. You could have a period during your offensive line time, during your team time, whatever time you want to use, where just you're working front side blocking of power and counter. You know the work you're doing here are going to help you on those 2 plays. So let's talk about the front side. Now, what you're going to see when you start looking this up on YouTube and getting more detailed work on how to block power, most of the time on the play side, let's look at versus even fronts. People want a double team on the front side of power. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell you this, because it's youth football, let's start here. I don't know the age of your kids. You could graduate up to being able to double team at the point of attack. But what's going to kill you is if you're working on double teams and we're allowing run-throughs to happen inside of a man. It's going to blow up your offense. So right now we're going to err on the side of safe. For the most part, everyone's rule over here, guard and tackle, is gap down backer. Do I have a man in my gap? That's the space between me and the man inside of me. In this case, for this guard, yes, that's my guy. Let's talk this tackle. Do I have a man in my gap? No. Is there a man head up of the man inside of me? That would be a down? No. So I'm going all the way down to that backside backer. Okay? Don't go to this backer. Go to this backside backer. You'll know why you're not going to this backer in a little bit. If I do get a 3 tech, now that guy becomes the tackles because he's in his gap, right? Or he's head up of his next man. That would be a gap or a down, depending on how wide that kid is. My guard now has no one in his gap or is down. He would go down to that backside backer. My center's rule, what we always call it, is MAMO. Man away, man on. First rule is, do I have a man away? Yes, then I have to take him. No? Do I have a man on? Take him. Man on, man away, man on. I've always got to block back because I am covering for my guard, my backside guard, who's going to be pulling. So what you want to do is get into scenarios where you are seeing all these fronts, right? I'm seeing these are 2 even fronts. This is an even. This is what you would call an over front. This is what you call an under front. These are odd. This is kind of your odd stack. This would be more of your 3-4, what they might call a mint front. 2-4 eyes, but you've got to show your kids, here's how we're blocking these. These are the 4 main fronts we're going to see. Here's how we're blocking them. We're going to work this over and over ad nauseum. And then I've got to work all 4 of these looks with a blitzing linebacker, right? So I've got to work on all those things. And I probably want to do this every single day, literally every single day, so that we have a chance to run these plays and not make that huge error where we just completely whiff or miscommunicate and forget to block a guy. So we're going to work this front side of power and counter because it's the same on both plays. We're going to work it ad nauseum. If you get to the point where you have older kids, your kids are starting to understand, let's look at this under front right here. This is a great example. This is a situation where you go, hey, we might be able to double team this 3 tech and then work to this backside backer. But you have to have two things to make that happen. You have to have a good offensive line coach who can teach it. There's tons of drills on YouTube here where you can find it. And you got to have good kids that could learn it. Because I have to be able to adjust from, I'm trying to double team this 3 tech to, oh, I wanted to double team him, but now I have a blitzing linebacker. I'm going to have to come off of that. So I've got to be able to teach that. If we could get away with a double team, we'd love to. But again, because this video is made for a youth football coach thinking I would like to run a modern offense, start here. You're going to make fewer mistakes, and it's mistakes that are going to kill your game. Let's get it into our stud athlete's hands and give him at least some room to run. At least he doesn't have someone in his face right now, even if I don't have world beaters up front. All right, the backside of power. Really simple, but let me actually still start on that front side. That H block, we call that a tunnel. He wants to attack his inside foot of his tackle first. That's his aiming point because that tackle is going to be blocking down. We'd like to be close enough to our tackle to be able to touch him. And now we want to hit with our play side shoulder, right? So if this is power to the right, I need to hit with my right shoulder, ear on the inside, head on the inside. And I want to, we call it tunnel him out. It's this J-type block, and I want to tunnel him out. And I teach my kids, tunnel him outward, and then you want to push him backwards. So it's like I'm trying to dig him out, like an ice cream scooper, dig him out. The most common problem here is that your H runs right at that J, and the J gets inside of him. We don't want him inside of him. We need to do everything we can to keep him from getting inside. Backside guard is going to pull and lead. He is the one that's responsible for this near side backer. Pull and lead. Now you could teach him, hey, you have to pull and get all the way outside of this tackle. However, some teams, and actually not going to lie, the best team I've ever tried to defend didn't teach their guy that. They didn't say you have to get to this point. They pulled and led through the first open window. They would tell that guard, if you pull and you see an open lane like in the A gap, run it. Which also, obviously, then there are times where that halfback is hitting that tight, and it became a nightmare to defend because I couldn't tell my linebacker to automatically scrape and replace. Right? We're trying to spill it in one spot and allow this near side linebacker to scrape. We end up overrunning it, and they're gashing us with this. So that's a good little coaching point there. You could do what you want, though. Watch more videos. Don't. This is a starting point. And then this tackle backside hinge. Now, I think there's a lot of ways to teach it, but the easiest way, in my opinion, is he should take his first 2 steps. They should look like he's pulling with the guard for 2 steps. Turn like you're pulling with the guard for 2 steps, and then plant the foot and hinge back. And all you're doing, I just shook my entire desk, is trying to protect this backside B gap here because you've got your center blocking back. B gap run through from sprinting through to take away this play from the backside. So as anyone that would have to go around you, even with your 2 steps to the right, anyone that has to go around you really shouldn't be able to make the play. So we're not going to worry about him, but I need that backside hinge, right? So these are all parts of the puzzle that have to be worked on. They could be worked on. It's better when they're worked on in parts. I have a guy working on the J block, right, from my tunnel block from that H. I've got a guy working on a backside hinge or backside pull, backside hinge. So it's better when you work in parts, but these parts are important. And I guess I just want to say it's much more than just drawing the line for the kid and saying, do that. Right? It has to be executed, and you got to be good at it. 2 things to keep in mind with power troubleshooting you're going to want to cover before game 1. Number 1, what do I do when this guy's head up of me? Or I'm having trouble getting inside of him. You got to work on that. Work on getting inside in a hurry. That H has to know this kick out block is tight. It's tight. Don't overrun it. So you be aware of this. It's a problem. It's going to hurt you in a game if you haven't addressed it. And then, as I said before, that blitzing play side backer. Make sure your kids have seen it before you go play in a game. Now, here's a key for you. Bonus, hidden yardage to be found is when your quarterback hands off that ball, he's going to turn, hand off the ball. He needs to burst. There needs to be a burst of a fake out to the side, right? Now, quarterbacks who throw the ball better than anyone in the world. These guys on TV, they can fake and just give you one of these, and you have to honor that because they're so good at that. They're one of the best quarterbacks in the world. That's why they play on TV. Well, your kid's not, right? He's not one of the best quarterbacks in the world. So he needs to hold people accountable, ride it and burst. Even if he were to only run for 3 yards past it, if he runs those 3 yards quickly, as if he's in a hurry, as if he's trying to get away with something, you will pull defenders with him, and you will find it easier to move the football. I'm just telling you, you will. So don't forget about that. The backside of counter. On the backside of counter, right, here's all the changes. My H now is just filling for my 2 pulling linemen. They're pulling back this way. My guard becomes my kick out man. Same rules. If it's counter left, I want to hit with my left shoulder, tunnel that man out, and my backside tackle becomes the lead up man to this play side backer. Right? Same concept, but these are things I have to work on. My quarterback, halfback, same footwork as power to the right. And then after the F actually gets the ball is when he can cut back to the left. So highly effective play. You will absolutely kill people with it. And then, of course, you can get creative and find ways to run the same play where your quarterback keeps it for the counter fake rather than your halfback, if your quarterback happens to be the guy. Don't forget about the same things apply to troubleshooting counter as they do to power. And the number one complementary play to this when your quarterback is a dude is you run counter, you show counter blocking. Everything to this defense is saying that this ball has been given to the F. Quarterback keeps it and comes out wide here, right? And the H, instead of just filling right here, he runs this arc and he looks for anyone that wasn't fooled by the fake. An incredible, simple addition to your counter play. Toss. Now, you probably don't have Saquon Barkley, but this is just getting the ball to your really good kid. And at the youth level, if you got a fast one, boy, is it a weapon. How do we get it to him on the edge? You know, it doesn't have to be fancy. You just toss it to him. You say, run to the right, and I'm going to turn and toss this to you. Now, you can make up your own mind. Do you want your quarterback to reverse out and toss it or front out and toss it? Either way, get it tossed to him. You need to this is about not making mistakes. You've got numbers out here. You want to make sure you didn't walk right by one of the 3 people that have to be blocked. Because it happens all the time. I thought you were going to get them. No, I thought you had them. And number 2, be careful involving your outside arm because this is what gets you called for holding. It gets you called for holding and it kills your play. So keep the outside arm out of it as long as you can. Try to rip across with the inside arm and win with your body, and then you can square up. And then work like crazy for your kids to communicate. How are we taking care of these guys, right? These are the 3 guys that have to be accounted for. The play side D end, don't miss him. The outside backer sitting there, don't miss him. And the near side inside linebacker. The reality is none of these guys can make the play. Now, we do want to teach most of these guys to rip and run and get in someone's way. Don't allow someone to cross your face. But for the most part, when you're working on this play, talk to the kids about these 3 men being accounted for. They're the ones that usually blow up your toss. Rip across his face. I teach the kids, I want to turn and run to the sideline when I'm blocking. I'm ripping across with my inside arm because this one gets me not called for holding. Get in his way. And now can I slow him down and can I square up? And that gives my running back enough time to get by. This is a great little alteration, a little wrinkle, where you take your Z, that slot, and you just run him down to the inside to crack block, right? Take him to the inside linebacker and take your H to the outside linebacker covering him. Because a lot of times what the outside linebacker is going to do is, because this is a receiver who could go out for a pass, is he'll end up coming inside with him as if he's trying to cover him. And now you get out here to block this man. Either he's late to the party or he isn't at the party at all. And now I just got an extra man. That's a good little wrinkle, a blocking scheme that you could either tag to it, say this is an alternate, or you just say this is how we do it. This is how we block toss. Something to consider. And then the last thing that you could do, and this is more advanced football, but and I'm not going to lie, this really is only necessary against the best teams on your schedule, is the influence. You just say, we're going to block it like counter this way because the defense is so good. They follow chasers. Their inside linebackers have eyes on guard. This DN will chase my tackle when he pulls. That's what great defenses do. Only use this against the great ones. Now we're just going to block counter this way, but toss it out right. And I got the H out here. I've gotten rid of this defensive end here that's labeled as a J with the blocking scheme. I've gotten rid of this linebacker with the blocking scheme, and we've got numbers out at the point of attack. Again, it only works against great defenses. Make sure you keep these. How do we be successful as an offense? I would just always warn people, it's not necessarily about great ideas, right? You can be great on offense without great ideas. You need a solid plan. You need to follow it. Understand, and this is tough. This is, again, one of those dangers. If you want to be good at this offense, you guys are a spread offense, you're good. You have to understand and make sure that your kids and your players know, your coaches know that the running game to you is as important as it is to a wing T team. It's just as important to us. We have to run the ball successfully to be successful. We've got to get lots of repetitions at what we do, what we hang our hat in, how we make our money. We need lots of repetitions. And a coach who is watching the O-line and not just the plays, right? You've got to be able to have a couple coaches at your practice. The play happens, and you don't just have every coach standing there watching the running back gain 20 yards against the scout defense, right? You have to have people watching different parts of it, right? So that's the key to giving yourself a chance. I will touch on this quick game real fast. A quick little passing game. This is literally catch the snap, turn and throw. You should be able to run hitches and you should be able to run fades. That's where it starts. They're the easiest ones to complete. Well, fade is a lower percentage play, but for the most part, it's giving us ability to stretch vertically, and I don't have to protect these very long. Now you could, let's just talk the quick game real quick. All these guys should be able to hitch. But if I'm going to run hitch over here on this two-man side, I think it's better if only one of them hitches at a time. And I can tag it how I want. So the slot hitches and the X goes deep. Or in this case, the X hitches and the Z goes deep. And I throw a hitch to the opposite man. Or if this is your best kid over here, throw him the hitch. All right, look out and throw it to your best kid. You can work on over time being able to throw it to all kids. But I recommend throwing it to your best kid. Throw it to him. He's the one that should catch the most passes. He's the best. And then a fade. Now, again, same rule. You should be able to throw a fade to anyone on the field, but on the two-man side, I wouldn't run both guys on a fade. But for the fade, this is a little quick tip here for your fade. It should look the same as your hitch to 6 yards. There should be a slight outside move, so you're trying to get outside leverage on that receipt on that corner covering you. Don't just make an outside move and start running to the sideline, because now he's running with you, and that's a contested pass. I run vertically, make him run with me vertically, and I allow my quarterback to throw it to the outside of us. Now I'm running vertically, it's thrown to the outside of us, and I fade. At the last second, I fade to it and create some space so that I can catch this. It takes a good receiver to catch a fade. So if you don't have a really good one, it's a really, really low percentage throw. Don't get mad at your kids when they can't do it. I've coached high school football a long time, and I don't always have kids that can make this happen, right? They can do it on air. Nobody's covering you. Nobody's rushing you. But can you do it under duress of all the chaos of a football game? It's just not that easy. So be aware. And then never forget how to protect it. Goodness, you've got to protect it. This is the easiest way to protect. I'm not going to say it's the best way to protect. First of all, I'm not an offensive line expert. I'm fairly decent. I coach the offensive line for my team. But this is the simplest way to protect. Have all your guys slide. This is slide protection. Everyone is responsible. If I know my H is on the right, maybe I'm going to call this laser. My entire offensive line knows I'm responsible for the gap to my left. Gap left. That's my responsibility. I'm going to protect the gap on my left. Left. And we take care of the first man off of our last offensive lineman with our H-back. And that will give us enough time to throw quick game. Because again, quick game is catch, set, throw. And then my F, I would just run him horizontally, especially when I'm first starting. I might draw some eyes out. If I have a way of telling my kid he knows which way he's going, to tell the F to run the opposite way. But what I can't have is trying to get, this is what happens to teams a lot. They try to get this F up into the action to block, and he ends up just getting in the way of your quarterback. It'll kill you. Don't let it happen. Just run him to the side. Go sideways. Stay out of our way. And if you can't get him to stay out of your way like that, you literally will get mileage off of saying, don't stink and move. Don't move. We're going to throw quick game. Don't move. If you want to run this, man, like I said, this video really should be a starting place for you. These are 4 great videos that I grabbed from our library to recommend to you. Those 2 at the top, we just shot. Look at that one. How to build a modern offense. The run game and RPOs. GT, that's what we just ran. That's your counterplay. It's known as GT in the football world. All sorts of tags to add to your GT scheme as you get good at it. Down that bottom left, that's probably the best team in Illinois at power and counter. Rochester High School. That video is incredible. It's a must watch if you're going to run this. And the last thing, this is Jonathan Guess, who was in down bottom right corner, won 4 state titles in Georgia. Now he's competing in South Carolina. This is just, he's just good. I mean, he's just good. And if you want to run an offense that's more modern, I think it's a must watch. Don't miss that one. So again, all this stuff's on our YouTube channel. Our logo did change, but all this stuff, more stuff if you want to be a member. The cheapest way for long-term access or for your whole staff, for multiple people, is over at chiefpigskin.com. So check that out if that's what you're after. Man, I feel like I need a break. I've talked too much, but I will come back to cover more details on running the spread offense for your youth football team. Thanks for joining me today.